Three things, 1, 2, 3 things that people don't tell you about fighting before you have your first fight. The first one of these is almost guaranteed, and this will be like for a few weeks leading up to your fight. Maybe more, maybe a little less, but it's definitely gonna happen, okay? You're not gonna be able to sleep very well. Especially a couple days before your fight, it's really difficult to sleep because your mind knows what you're getting yourself into, or at least it thinks it knows. You haven't fought yet, but it thinks it knows that there's this big event coming and it's dangerous. So it's gonna try to prepare you, right? It's gonna try to prepare you, and it's just gonna wanna run scenarios. You're trying to fall asleep and all you can think about is like, oh, the guy's gonna try to do this, and when he does that, I'm gonna do this. Oh, and then he's gonna try to do this, and when he does that, I'm gonna do this, and then if he does this, then I'm gonna counter it with this. It's this constant think wheel that's just going around and around and around, okay? When that happens, it can be tough, but embrace it, okay? Don't try to fight against it. Don't try to just like close your eye. I'm just gonna go to sleep. Don't take a whole bunch of melatonin. Don't like just take sleeping pills. It's not worth it, okay? Your mind is trying to prepare you for a difficult task. Allow it to prepare you for the difficult task. If your mind wants to just run scenarios, go into it. Go into that, all right? Because it's gonna help you. All of that visualization is like, the mind is an amazing thing, right? Like, it doesn't actually know the difference between real life experience and things that you're imagining. So if you run scenarios visually in your head, okay, that's mental reps. It's the same thing as doing the reps in the gym. So, or at least similar thing to doing the reps in the gym. So allow it to happen. You can't get out of it anyway, so you might as well use it to your benefit. When you do that, you will be very well prepared. One thing that I used to do right before I would go to sleep, because I knew this was gonna happen, okay, is I would have a notepad sitting by my bed. I would start running scenarios and I would start running and thinking about things. And a lot of times I would come up with really cool drills. I would come up with ideas that I wanted to remember the next day, and I would just write them down, write them down, write them down. And yeah, I got a little bit less sleep than I normally would, but your body is amazing, right? If you believe that you have unlimited energy within you, you will have almost unlimited energy within you, okay? So one of the times that this was really impactful for me, I was fighting for the MMA title. I was defending my title against Steve Claveau. This is a long time ago, back in like 2008. Right, Montreal, Canada. I'm out there, we flew in. I didn't sleep the first night I got in. I didn't sleep, I just stayed awake. I was like, oh, a little bit upset that I'm staying awake. Okay, and then the second night comes, and like I'm gonna fight the next day, right? So I'm not able to sleep. My mind just keeps running scenarios. And so I just started to accept it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm choosing to believe that my body has unlimited energy. I'm just going to use this. And I would just like sit and relax and allow my mind to do that work. And I ended up eventually getting up at around 6 o'clock in the morning, going for breakfast by myself, and then coming back, getting the rest of my team and going out for a second breakfast. This is the day after weigh-ins, right? So you're trying to rehydrate. And that was one of the most amazing performances that I had in my whole career. Unfortunately, nobody saw it because it's before the UFC, but it was a fantastic fight, fantastic performance. Now, if I had tried to fight against that, if I had tried to like, I'm gonna shut it out, I don't want that happening in my mind, I'm gonna shut it out, I'm gonna run from it, I'm not gonna go into it, I wouldn't have slept regardless, okay? But I wouldn't have got all the benefits that my mind was trying to give me, right? So go into it. It's worth it to just allow it to happen, okay? And you might end up sleeping a little easier if you do go into it than if you try to fight against it in the first place. Another thing that people don't really tell you about fighting before you're fighting is that it's not a hobby, okay? Fighting is not a hobby. It's not something that you should do for fun. MMA can be a hobby for sure. You can train it in the gym, you can learn it, you can have fun practicing it in the gym in a controlled environment with other controlled martial artists. But if you decide that you want to take that step and go into amateur fighting, you should be trying to be the best in the world. That's my opinion. If you're not trying to actively be the best in the world, then you need to leave, because you're going to fight people that are trying to be the best in the world. Right? And I say this because I've had so much damage that's happened to my face and my body and through fighting, right? I've had like nine fractures of my face. I have 7 plates in my head, right? I've got one here, I've got one here, I've got one under this eye, I've got another one under this eye, I've got 2 in my jaw here, and I've got 1 in my jaw here. That's a whole lot of hardware. And this is something I realized back in 2005 after the first time I got my face broken. I wasn't taking it super seriously. It was kind of like a thing that I did because I didn't really know what else I wanted to do, and it was fun, so I just kept doing it, kind of like skateboarding, right? I went from skateboarding to fighting, and I was like, oh, this is my new hobby, I like doing it, whatever. But I wasn't really trying to be the best. I wasn't like searching out the best trainers and teachers. I was kind of just in my comfort zone doing it because it was fun. And then boom, face broken in 5 places in one fight. And then I realized, oh, this isn't something that you do for fun. This is something that you do because you can't stop doing it. And if that's the case, you need to do everything that you can to be the absolute best. Because if you're not the absolute best, you're going to get very hurt. You will get very hurt. Take it very seriously. It's not a game. People always say that. Oh, you can't play fighting. Well, you kind of can, but you should still, when I'm in the fight, I'm in a state of somewhat play, right? Kind of like a kid on a playground, to a level, to an extent, right? You can play fighting, but you should still have done every single thing in your power to make sure you are the best martial artist in the entire universe. If you're not doing it, somebody else is, and you're going to fight that person, and that's going to be a bad time for you. The third thing that nobody tells you before you go and have your first fight, okay, and this was really, really big for me because it scared the bejesus out of me in my first fight. You're going to get really tired in the warm-up, okay? If you do like a pre-fight, like shakeout, the day of the fight, even like the week of the fight, your training sessions, you're gonna be really tired. Obviously, you're cutting weight and stuff like that, so you're more calorie deficient and you're not gonna have the same type of energy you normally would. But also those nerves, man, those nerves can really do a number on you. Right? So even after you fully rehydrated, you're in the back room, you're warming up, you're gonna feel tired, more tired than you're used to feeling for the amount of work that you're doing. That's okay. Your body will still be able to go for far longer than you expect it to be able to go, longer than you do in training camp. If you've done everything perfectly, rehydrated perfectly, cut your weight perfectly, trained perfectly, primed your body perfectly for that day, you will be fantastic in the fight. Like I said before, if you can believe that your body has unlimited energy, then it does. All right. Now, regardless of how much unlimited energy you may have in your body, you're still going to feel tired. The nerves are going to make you feel tired in the warm-up. Don't freak out. Okay, don't freak out. You're gonna be okay. Once you get in that fight, it's gonna feel very similar to how it feels in training, just amped up a little bit. All right, now, those nerves need to be dealt with, but you cannot deal with nerves by pushing them away. Similar to not being able to deal with that script that is running in your head by pushing it away. All right, you have to accept them. I feel nervous. I feel afraid. I feel whatever you're feeling at that time, you have to accept. You have to accept it. Just know that it is part of your experience and that it is going to bring you to the level that is required in order to make you the best version of yourself. The very best version of yourself. This is something that every fighter needs to know. You need to be able to accept your nerves. You need to be able to accept yourself and who you are and love yourself truly, which is, I know that seems a little gimmicky or whatever, but it's so real. It's so real. Those fighters that are able to do this are on the day every time, right? You see some fighters, sometimes they're like this, sometimes they're like this. It goes up and down. They're here, they're there. Okay, some fighters are very consistent. And I see from what I've seen and my own experience, those fighters are able to accept the feelings and emotions and thoughts that they're having within themselves. And that brings them to their highest. One thing I tell fighters, there's a lion, he's hunting on the plains, right? Do you think that lion feels fear when he's gonna go and kill an antelope? I believe that they would, because if you're going and hunting, right, there's still an element of disaster that could happen. There, you don't know if you're gonna come out ungored by those horns, right? There are many lions that die hunting. You get an injury when you're hunting and you're gonna bleed out. Okay, there's no surgery. You're gonna end up wounded and eventually die. So anytime you have this amount of danger that is possible, you're gonna feel nerves. Okay, if the lion feels nerves hunting a gazelle, then it is completely okay for you to feel nerves when you're about to go and fight this man or woman. All right, I hope that helps you, because it helped me and it helps my fighters. Peace, people. I love you.